Singular Places is about a very holistic approach to being better people and making business in a different way. And we want to be perfect in this. I want to prove that as an entrepreneur, you can make good money, which you then ideally spread with many people around the globe. It's also one of our objectives. You have to create a huge corporation. You can make an impact, you can be sexy, you can have a fulfilling life. They are singular because they completely represent proudly where they are, with all the characteristics, including the negative ones, including the scratches in the wood, including the weather, the wind, and not making a fuss about it. But they want you to fall in love with their community where you are. They want you to taste their favorite dish because they love it so much, not just because they can earn the money of selling you that dish, but they know that in this dish, there is the story of their grandmother in the garden, harvesting the zucchini, cutting them on a nice summer night in good olive oil, quickly burned, putting them over the pasta. They want you to taste this.
It's a pleasure to welcome Lars von den Wettern. He's coming to us from Berlin. Welcome to One-on-One. Good afternoon, Lars. How are you?
Thank you. Good afternoon, dear Antoine. Thank you for having me in this very nice chat. And hello from Berlin, actually the far outskirts of Berlin, from the green of Berlin.
Which is nice. Which is nice.
It's very nice. It's a beautiful sunny. City. It's a beautiful setting for this chat, actually.
Yes, it's a beautiful historical city that has a lot to offer, actually. So the first thing that really struck me was the name Singular Places, and you could have chosen special places. You could have chosen exotic places. Why the word singular? It's catchy. That I would say that to start with. But why Singular Places?
It's a good question. I think you know the power of words, and also it's a language which is not my native one, but in a way it is also a word that fully exists in Spanish, which is the language I worked in most of my time, and it does work in German and obviously English. So it was one of those words that resonates with you, and it has something about it, and it's not overly used, for some strange reason.
It is not.
And I suddenly, I basically fell in love with it because when it comes from hospitality, as you said, there is unique places, there is hidden places, and they are all doing a good job. I mean, I'm saying that this is not a criticism, it's just you have to find your own path, obviously. So, and then the idea actually came already over 10 or 11 years ago, when it was about 2 properties that we looked after in Spain. And we said, these are no longer just design hotels, because everybody was suddenly design. Everybody painted the rooms white, put a red chair in, and charged you 20 euros more because they had a design hotel. So that was too used. And then, as we said, all the other, like the Gem Hotel or whatever. So the first was the singular. And then we all said, that's it, that it works in all the languages. It is a little bit intriguing. We all want to be different ourselves. Nobody wants to be part of just the mass. We are part of a mass by nature. We are part of a pretty huge king, but each one is a little bit different. And I think singular puts it into this difference in a positive word. It has nothing negative about it of being singular.
It's distinct.
Yep. And so we liked it from the very, it was luck. I think it was luck. We just went through a lot of words, and then when that one popped up, we said, that's it.
Yeah. There's another word that also struck me. So you're the founder and a managing host of Singular Places. Now, people say managing director, managing partner, managing whatever. You chose to use the word host, and I have a feeling that this word means much more than just in the title.
Yeah, I think, Antoine, that's what happens when you speak to middle-aged old white men coming from hospitality. That's all I ever learned, And for me, the whole reason I went into the industry was this hostmanship, this welcoming people, this really opening up. And that's what in some cultures and nations you have as a natural good, you know, this friendliness towards travelers, foreigners, or visitors. But I think being a host in a company is just a fulfillment of my dream, because this is not the first hospitality style company that we have. It's one of the last, or it is the last one, the latest adding, and it should be perfect, you know. So in this one, we didn't want to compromise, and we said, this is about being a host. It is about being the host, the first people who boarded the company to become our partners, whom we asked to be good hosts. So how can you ask somebody to be something if you do not want to be part of that game? And obviously we could have said partner, because we are about networks, and as we are about singular hosts, everybody is independent and the powerful host itself. And we want that. But being also a host, I think you're also saying we're all the same, you know, and nobody is about better or worse hosts. It's like we all aim for something special. And also I think it's to host, being good to the people that join the company also as team. I think that's also good, you know, to make them welcome. We all have undergone psychological pressure, and not just in our industry, I think across the board. And I think host is just something that is very good. It's for friends, it's for work. And if it would be all a little bit more hosting around the world and maybe less meeting, maybe that could be positive. Yeah.
What does make a good host? What makes a good host?
You see, that is a beautiful question, Antoine. And lucky enough, there is no book that says these are the 20 things you have to do to become a good host. And this is why it goes so perfectly well with the word singular. Because first, I think not every host is good for everyone. Because the one host might have a huge career in hospitality, an amazing host that has learned catering for your needs, from noticing when you're hungry, thirsty, tired from a walk, from visiting a mountain the first time, when you're even emotionally overblown because maybe this is your first trip to Africa and you have reconnected to nature or with your family. So there is this professional part, which is great, absolutely amazing. But then there is non-industry players who are maybe very introvert people, but you just come to your room and it's all set, and they have this handwritten letter, and they're just maybe not even seeing them, but they want you to fall in love with their community where you are. They want you to taste their favorite dish because they love it so much, not just because they can earn the money of selling you that dish, but they know that in this dish, there is the story of their grandmother in the garden, harvesting the zucchini, cutting them on a nice summer night in good olive oil, quickly burned, putting them over the pasta. They want you to taste this. And they are maybe not the extrovert who tells you this, but they want to give you the surrounding. So what is the host? It's just, you have to be a little bit good at heart, you know? You have to be honest about wanting to share experiences and good. You want to be an ambassador of your region, and you're taking care of your region. I think in our sense of the host, I think it's very important that you want to also give back to this destination, to this community around you. So good host is a good host to the visitors as well. Is a good host to their people that work for them, the team, but to everybody around as well, to the person that takes care of the garden, to the people that deliver the drinks, the fruits that they cannot grow themselves. I think a host is a little bit like an ambassador of their destination as well.
You think this being a host, this hostmanship, this host womanship,
I like that. Thank you so much.
Has been lost?
Oh, fully. I think
through the years.
Yeah, I think it has been. I think it is frustrating how the big corporations in our industry have moved from being hosts and even, you know, the very first hotels, they were safeguards for people to arrive in strange destinations. You know, when you would come to, let's not mention any brands, but when you would enter one of those hotels, you would, I'm safe now. You know, they will take care of me. They give me food. They will let me shower. I'm protected. You know, I'm somewhere now. And now I think it's all about quarterly reports. It's about stock markets. It's about ROI, RevPAR share, monthly reports, monthly re-reports, forecast, budget, rebudget. The hostmanship has become a pain in the ass for many because of the big corporations, not for the people. Yeah, I think many people still enter the industry to live it. And the good news is that this weakness of the big brands of forgetting about hostmanship has given all these independent and smaller, independent entrepreneurs and or small groups the opportunity to focus on that. You know, if you just want a room, you can have the Airbnb, and that's it. That's cool. And even they have hosts, you know. But if you want to be welcomed by somebody to somewhere, you might look for a host, and that host, and as you said, the host women, we have seen in many boutique hotels dramatically the shift in towards female leadership, which you don't see in many of the big corporations. That is eye-opening, because that's what people go for. And I think, yes, we have lost it, to answer your question, but sometimes you need to lose things to notice what you're missing. So some of our best partners and team players are even retired GMs from big corporations. Mm-hmm. You know, they said, this was not what I entered this game for. You tricked me, or at least you have changed so much, I don't feel comfortable anymore. So unfortunately, I have to say yes to your question, but many people are reviving it, are living it, not because it's a niche, or not because of a sales and marketing. Many people still live it with their small units, with their individual hostmen and hostwomanship, as you nicely said. I really like that. And so it has never really disappeared, but it disappeared from the mainstream, and it was a niche, but now I think it's significantly growing again.
Because at the end of the day, tourism and hospitality became a big numbers game, where you wanted to have the mass, not all of them, but either you were very, very, very high end luxury, and that would be for the 1%. And then you would have the mass, and then not much left. There were things, but potentially they were present, but they were not organized in a way. So is the idea of singular places to give that opportunity for the smaller places to be heard and seen, to say, okay, we do exist, you have alternatives?
But first of all, it is absolutely the showcase. And you put that spot on. The funny thing is, if I look at our individual places and the hosts, many of them are more seen in this first year of our work than we are seeing. You know, you can have people that have been in Condé Nast Traveler or Hidden Gems of National Geographic. They might end up showing you, Instagram accounts with 50,000 followers, because they have amazing stories to tell, and they do this with all the passion at heart and authentic. So it's not like they are really hidden, but what happens to many of them is that they say, okay, I have Antoine visiting me once. He discovers in this country that he visits my place. I welcomed him, I showed him the place, but next year Antoine is not coming back, because he is a discoverer. He wants to go more. He's a curious traveler, and even though maybe you go once or twice, but you will not go there every year, maybe. And so what we do is we showcase two surprising factors. First, that to highlight this is really a job, because as you said, some have the exclusive and money power to find these places, also through expensive travel agents sometimes. So you're 100% right. So we want to showcase a little bit more open what is out there. And the other thing is, many of those hosts didn't know how many other amazing hosts are around. So many said, oh, this is lovely. I suddenly belong to a network. I don't feel like fighting alone. So this very successful host in Vietnam suddenly teams with this amazing host in Uruguay, and they enjoy just speaking to each other and not being alone. So we are trying to showcase. Obviously, that was our idea to the travelers, and also the good thing is we give some motivation and partnership energy to all these individual fighting hosts.
Yeah. So what makes a place singular?
That is the definition for our brand. I think many places are singular, and something that we came across in the last 18 months was also that there is many more than we can take on board. Yeah, I think many people do an outstanding job, and indeed, then there is some hidden, that have maybe not the financial power, or they don't go into this aspirational level of old world luxury. So they might fly a little bit under the radar, but they are singular. They are singular because they completely represent proudly where they are, with all the characteristics, including the negative ones, including the scratches in the wood, including the weather, the wind, and not making a fuss about it. So if you come to a highland resort in November and you complain about the cold, I think these people look at you say, like honestly, really?
You're expecting what?
Yeah. So singularity is also about authentic and honest. And by doing that in 300 places around the world, which is so generously diversified, our planet is beautiful with all its different colors and smells and sounds. I think by just being authentic to where you are, you already reached a certain level of singularity. And this singularity, going away from any hotel standard that travelers like you and I might expect coming to the first place, and this is always our first place. We always have kind of like where the host is residing. Later we add other places like wineries, restaurants, museums. They are other ancillary places, yeah. But this first place is where you stay and where you have your base, and that is then fully local. It is run by this host. It is different. It can be crazy. It doesn't have to be crazy. It has a passion for making you feel good, also in the design, and that can be a plush design or very minimalistic, because they have decided to go this way, and that maybe fits the local culture. The colors in Peru, the smells of Uganda. When you're there, you want to see them, but there is also a character note from the local owner, which is the local host or the architect or the designer that they involved in it, which honestly, we never have done this by international non-locals. So it's singular. It's just letting go and letting it happen, and combining all these things together. And this singular result is by having many passionate people being allowed to do what they believe is good.
Yeah, you were mentioning in the website that allow us to make mistakes. There will be mistakes. What do you mean exactly by that?
We don't just want to be a little bit singular from the design and the experience. I think what we really want to be is we want to bring together only independent, because I'm how can you say, I grew up in the corporate world, and I still, we still do we also do corporate business, we do standard corporate business, but Singular Places is about a very holistic approach to being better people and making business in a different way. And we want to be perfect in this, and because the risk of greenwashing is always there, the risk of making a mistake, to maybe taking on board a host that is not fully aligned with your values. Think about religion, think about politics, these huge subjects are behind there. So when we say we will make mistakes, we are growing very slowly, because we only take personally recommended places on board, being recommended by somebody we personally know. So it's not like a chain of something. So we already aim that the values are right. So you can have maybe a little bit of a softer bed or a cold coffee when you arrive there, yeah. Or the wine that you're tasting is maybe not the one that you favored in this region. But the values of the people behind each project, behind each place, are amazingly high to give the best for the visitor, but also for the people they connect to. And again, it's always the team and the community included there. And it's the passion for our planet. It's to grow back. Some of the people regenerate energy. They replant traditional plants into the region which have nearly disappeared. They help a local NGO. It's not defined, but these mistakes will also, by not having standards, you will make mistakes because nobody has a checklist. And I don't know about you, Antoine, but I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day.
Nobody is.
Yeah, I've seen myself smoking cigarettes even, that is itself already stupid, and definitely is not perfect when you want to live a healthy lifestyle. Everybody makes these mistakes, and by allowing these singular people, we allow them we're not pretending that we are perfect. So by telling our visitors that we are not perfect, I think they will just accept something happening not 100% to old standards they might follow. And maybe they would never even have complained, but they would say, that's what they meant. I'm just telling you, if you're in the jungle or if you're in the Amazonas and you're coming to a eco lodge and there is no air condition, why isn't it there? Well, because it shouldn't be there. It makes it consumes a lot of the energy in that region, which they definitely don't have, and it will hurt the environment, and it shouldn't be there. We have told you on the website, but you might still miss it. Yeah. So there is subjects like this, or the food issue, and then there might be other people who are very far advanced, that have completed a different life cycle where they say, I'm only vegan. And I think vegan is the future for the planet. To save the planet, everybody should be vegan. And I fully respect that decision. And maybe some people feel that if you go to one of our places and there is still local meat, they think that's not perfect. They think we shouldn't serve this anymore because we know it's doing more harm than good. So
depending the way it's been reared, and
I fully agree with you.
If it's not industrial, then it's the good old ways at the end of the day.
And that's what we are saying. That's what we are saying. You will find this. And then if somebody tells us, for example, that there is a place that has like a lot of plastic still, and we didn't know about it, we have also time to reach out to the host and say, do you still buy this shit? Honestly, Corona is over, get back from this and that, and please don't do this. Honesty is just a word that has been too much downgraded. And the funny thing is, and that was actually a very long answer, sorry, it was a simple question, but one of the things that mostly intrigues me, and this is where the honesty part is so important. Most of the hosts, when we ask them, we are looking for sustainability, high values, and enterprise behaviors, they always feel they are not good enough. And these are places who are far above any certification that you can get in our industry. If Green Globe would go there, or EarthCheck, or Green Sign, they would all get the full score for sure. But they are so honest about, I tried to put photovoltaic, but we didn't have the budget. So we are working on this maybe in 2 years. But when they had the money, they built a school for 100 children in the village because,
it's more important.
Exactly. But they still believe they are not perfect, and they want to tell you about it. And this honesty is so amazingly part of our story that we just feel it's part of us, and we should showcase it.
The reason why you went into this, because as you said, you could have continue some corporate work, potentially do some hospitality with eco certified locations and things like that, but you decided to take another route and to make it your own. Why have you gone through that pain through that difficulty?
I think I was lucky that I was pushed into this direction, Antoine.
Pushed by the hands of God, or not in a religious sense, but really
but pushed. Yeah, there were many things had to happen to end up with this, and I had to meet many amazing people on the path. I really had my corporate career, and just at this moment some inquietud in Spanish, something said, this is not what I want for the rest of my life. So I started a consultancy 18 years ago. Then obviously in the consultancy, when you're independent, you're becoming an entrepreneur, you want to make money, that was all about success. And I was still pretty much a corporate guy there, just a little bit changing. But then I noticed probably the last 14 years, I noticed this change where I felt more comfortable. It was independent people. It was independent owners who listened to you, who wanted to give something back, who treated their people different, who treated their environment different, who wanted to have a small impact. Not everybody wanted to save the world in one day, but, for example, getting fair labor contracts in some countries where it was not standard, and convincing the owner to do so, convincing owners in countries where it was not a standard to have female leadership, and seeing the successes of it. And suddenly you notice by yourself, wow, this makes me feel better. This is giving me more energy. I'm flying more happy to this project than to others.
There's more human beings.
Yeah.
You're dealing with. There's more life.
And that life turned into energy and into fun and meeting other great people, which is for me a super big motivator still. And then, so out of this, we said, wow, this is good. But we always had the excuse that we said, oh, but we can't just do the super good, because we always have to still make it in the real world. So for all the banks and for all the corporations, we still had on. And then Singular Places was different. I said, no. This is the best midlife crisis a guy could ask for. With 50 being able to not having to throw anything away that you have done, but taking it as experience with you, and being in this case also proud of it. And then saying, I'm sure now with all that successes I've seen in the past, and with all the people I have met, and with everything I have heard and seen and touched, I want to prove that as an entrepreneur, you can make good money, which you then ideally spread with many people around the globe. It's also one of our objectives. You have to create a huge corporation. You can make an impact, you can be sexy, you can have a fulfilling life, and that, changing the world doesn't just mean sitting by the wooden hut by the beach, smoking some weed and singing about it. It can be done, should be done, it's extremely sexy, very successful. And we believe by highlighting so many people who have proven that, it's not me who had the idea, these people created their places long before we were around. And they did it. They're happy. You should see our hosts. They are amazing people. You would fall in love with most of them. So we just put them together. And then you said, if I can't create 100 hotels around the globe who do it better, let's just find people who created those 100 hotels. Yes. And that's what we did. It's just about connecting the dots,
And the right people together.
Absolutely.
What would be the biggest definition of your success that you would see in the coming years? What would represent for you something that says, okay, we were able to do this, we were able to achieve? What would that be?
I think there is two things, and there will be two things happening before. The first must happen so that we have become successful and meaningful. So if we reach 500 places, around the globe, which sounds a lot, but 500 around the globe with all these beautiful destinations that we have is absolutely manageable. It's
and here you're talking about places to stay.
Places to stay,
okay.
Exactly, with their host, and then each of them brings another 3-4 around. So we will talk far over 2,000 places. When we have reached this, and then we have also, that means that you have gained the visibility, you have gained the traction, you have gained traveler volume, directing more and more people to this. That would be a huge success. Now that you say, wow, people use us. And also to have a company structure that you can never be sold. That's one of my targets. I don't want to be, I think all the power should go back to these 2,500 hosts around the world, because they do the job. So if somebody says, oh, this is a great booking platform, let's buy it, it should be, it's not possible, unfortunately.
There's a poison pill.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So the funny thing is, then you could say that is already defining success. But I have a slightly bigger dream. After these 500 hosts exist, I want to help the first 50 entrepreneurs, female and male entrepreneurs around the globe, that because of their own struggles or not having had the luck of the birth of the white men in Europe or financial support from the families. So 50 entrepreneurs with passion, with wanting to do good in their communities. I want them to see that this is the network that maybe a bank needs to finance them, that gives the security to them to get enough bookings and enough guests the first year to survive this hard year. So that if we can create in this network that these 500 help 50 youngsters and passionate entrepreneurs for a better world to grow into their entrepreneurship, and then celebrate after 1 year that we ideally all 50 are with us, ideally all healthy, and then developing even further. That is actually my biggest dream, that you say, wow, this network is so powerful that we lift others, helping them doing even more good.
Yes. And what would be for you the biggest compliment for someone visiting one of the singular places?
If you would tell me, Lars, that was an absolute amazing trip. And I would say, why, Antoine? And you would look at me and say, I don't know, Lars. I don't know. There were so many things. It was just mind-blowing, everything about it. And now it was just making me feeling completely back to my better Antoine. Then we and our hosts have done what we want to do.
So make them feel good. Make them feel at peace, at ease in the place they are visiting. It's beautiful. It's not easy.
Because you might need different things. You know, you might have a moment where you want to celebrate success. So you're the business person that with your partner invites your maybe co-investors, 5 couples going to one of those places, wanting to do like really enjoying and celebrating your success in a beautiful way. And you want this music, this noise, this touches, the smells of nearly party. And then there could be another moment where you are hurt, where one of your projects went wrong, where you are vulnerable and you get caught and somebody gives you back the energy and the hope and teases you to look more positive into what's coming for you. Or you have a partner that you have still a lot of passion, but you lost a bit of contact in daily life. And suddenly you have this stay where you fully reconnect to each other, or not just reconnect, you reconnect, but also connect on a spot where you haven't connected before. And all these moments cannot be described more than giving you that special peace and inner happiness for whatever that is the definition in that special moment for you.
I'm sure you're going to make a lot of people very happy. And I can see that. Unfortunately, we're getting to the end of the conversation. But before that, as usual, we're going to finish with the Pivot questionnaire. So this is the first answer that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
I'll try my best.
Okay, so what is your favorite word?
I think we've said it now, with happiness was a big word. And if you allow me, I would just say happiness is an amazing word, but I've chosen for me this word better, because that's what I learned now. It's not just about being happy. It's about always making and feeling better for yourself. It can be also when you're very sad, you can still be better. You can make others feel better. So I go for better, even though we spoke a lot about happiness.
What is your least favorite word?
There is a word that in the context that very often I hear it tires me, and that's always. Yeah, it's like, oh, we always did this like this, or that has always been done like that, or we always this and always that, or you always have to work hard, or you always have to be happy. It's bullshit, you know. Always, nothing is always. It's not happening.
Your favorite virtue?
I know it's a very used one, but I learned that a virtue that I respect a lot in all levels, it can be from health, from love, from work, is courage. Courage.
Yeah. It's your favorite quality in a man?
Very, very interesting. And I also listened in one of the podcasts of you, this thing, is there a difference between a virtue in a man and a woman, you know? But I think I want to make one, because it intrigued me, that answer from another person that I had the luck to listen into. I think it's in a virtue in a man is allowing his female side to show, you know.
His animal, like
really? Yeah, okay, yeah. It was
Yes.
I think it's something that it is I had to learn it. I really had to learn it, and it's mind-blowingly good. So yeah, that would be my answer. Sorry.
So what's your favorite quality in a woman?
Supporting men. to show his female side, maybe giving them time, being patient, because on the other side, I cannot really see the struggle or what they come up with. But I think that would really help. And to be there when the man is ready, I think that I had the luck with two female close friends that supported me in that moment. And that was the biggest virtue they could have come up with, to sit down with me and to be there when I needed it.
So what wine, dish, or ingredient would you use to describe yourself? Any of these?
The wine.
So wine?
It's a wine, and I even, because I came across it in one of our places, I need to say that because it's just everything around that wine is so beautiful. It's the wine. It's a equilibrio. It's called, so balance in Spanish. It's from Uruguay. It's from Bodega Los Nadies, which means the nobodies. So it's a family-run vineyard. It's a Tanat wine. It is done with so much passion and love, and it is just this. It's this equilibrio. It's this balance, and this is what I don't. I mean, it's a hard thing to say. Describes you. I mean, maybe that's more a wish, but this is so much the desire to have this passionate balance around you. This fulfillment. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, what aroma or smell do you love?
A forest. Forest is good. Forest with a little bit of green field in front of it, maybe even that mix. If I could have that, I'd be happy.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. What's your favorite curse word? Any language?
Very boring, but it's the F word. That's what my team knows best. It's
Fair
the
enough.
F word.
So what sound or noise do you love?
The waves. I think waves by the sea, that's something amazing. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
As a contrast to that, it's the mechanical drilling, sawing. Mechanical sawing is horrible. When you're close to wood and it kills me.
That's nice. Okay. What plant or animal would like to be reincarnated in?
I think a tree, and ideally, even though being a native German, I've come to the pleasures of the south. A pine tree by the ocean would be nice if I can ask for that special request.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would be happy if he or she would tell me, Lars, I already saw that you enjoyed the ride and yet you spread good. Come in.
Nice. Lars van den Wettern, thank you very much.
Thank you, Antoine. It was a real pleasure, and you are a wonderful person and beautiful energy to speak to. I really love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.